Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the How's Your Touch podcast, covering all things Scottish women's football. I'm Peter. I'm here again, joined by Matt. How are you doing, Matt?
Good. I've just been listening to screamers scream about the Ballon d'Or, which was quite entertaining.
Do they literally scream, or?
No, but like,
Oh, okay. Boring.
just trying to be funny.
All right, yeah. Don't try. Too early in the podcast for that kind of joke.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it's quite entertaining.
Fair enough. Why are they LSU Russo stands or something?
No, Mariona. Well, and also Marta, which is the bit that I actually care about because Marta should have won the Ballon d'Or. Alison McConnell, we do have beef now. Because one, the men's Ballon d'Or Scottish vote, he did it right. He voted Scott McTominay number one.
Yes.
Alison, what are you doing voting Aitana Bonmati number one? Caroline Weir was right there.
Yeah, should have. Did Caroline Weir make her top three?
I don't think so. I've not seen the votes. I just know that she put her one.
Alison's too legit a journalist to.
If we're being legit, Marta should have won it. So
yeah, that's fair. Also, if clearly nobody else takes a Ballon d'Or vote legit, so why would you? So that's funny.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Just put Weir as number one, or at least put her in your top five. You know, be biased.
I would have put. Yeah, that's funny. Fair enough.
Yeah, that was quite fun. So yeah, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I've not been listening to people scream, or not. I don't know. Still don't get your joke, but
because they were moaning like about.
I've been working, so
you can listen to a podcast while you're at work. I feel.
Nah, I can't. I struggle to do anything else. I struggle to work full stop, to be honest. So here we are. But no, we're here. We're recording this podcast. Gonna get to one out on Wednesday. That's gonna be exciting for you guys because there's a game on Wednesday. So we're just trying that out. It's Tuesday for us still, but the podcast will be out Wednesday morning. So if you listen to this the day it comes out, you're listening to this probably in advance of Glasgow City Hibs. Maybe listening to this on the way to Glasgow City Hibs. In which case, hopefully it takes
Hibs. Well, say, but
okay. Well, we put the better team first.
Which one?
But yes,
won the league.
I don't know when. Glasgow City have won a lot of times.
Last season.
I don't know why I'm sorry. I don't even know why I'm standing up for City here. I don't like either team. But maybe this podcast will take the exact length of time as it takes you to get to the Hibs game, because it's a long way away. If you're in Glasgow, maybe it's next door. You know what I mean?
Not that far away if you're in Glasgow.
So, yeah, it feels far. But yeah, let's chat about that game is tonight. How do you feel about that game? Excited for that game?
No. As always with any big game, nervous, sense of dread, the general prospect of having to deal with talking to you after losing a game of football.
Yep. Talking to me full stop could have been after a game of football, like Hibs lose.
Not when Hibs have lost, because then it's particularly hard to talk to you.
We're gonna do the Hibs are falling apart again, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm in the headspace of that game being so bad that we then also end up losing to Motherwell on the weekend. So
right.
That's where I'm at.
Particularly negative.
Yeah.
You're going to go on a losing streak. That's how bad it is. Okay.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, I feel like that's football fandom, you know?
Yeah, man, it's your style of football fandom.
I feel like it's the majority of people are a bit doomer about their own teams.
I have elevated beyond doom and gloom to just like ethereal. I'm above it all, just watching it unfold. I have no control and have accepted that nothing. It just makes you, I'm just like, I feel like I'm floating out of body watching Celtic, to be honest. So
the fact that you're sat in an all white room wearing white with the sun shining in the window as well, while being like I'm ethereal, is making me think I might be in a coma. Is how I feel right now.
Yeah. No, you are recording a women's football. I keep doing this every week. I don't know. Celtic are maybe Celtic are not inspiring me right now. So I'm very much like just chat about anything else.
I mean, it was a 4-0 win. I
know,
feel like
but
it was pretty good.
it just feels kind of like we keep doing all right against good, I think, kind of like middling teams, and then being bad against
Jeez,
everyone else.
right. Peter's now banned from Montrose.
I think middling is quite a. I think Montrose would take middling 6th or wherever 5th. I guess that'd be now
Yeah,
6th
I don't
probably.
know.
Call them that. They're quite happy top 6, wouldn't they?
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, it's an exciting game, and yeah, I'm just not confident because our big game record this season has been atrocious compared to last season where it was really good.
Are you going to the game or just TV? Is it on TV?
It's on TV.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it's on
probably Alba.
BBC Alba. I am not because I will be working from home in Glasgow. And because like it's
and
always the
and as
thing of like,
it thought
oh,
it wasn't that far away from Glasgow.
yeah, but it's far away when you can't drive. It's always the thing of like, oh, I could work from the office, and then I like think of the prospect of waking up at 5 in the morning, and I decide I don't want to go work in the office.
To work in
Um,
the office, that's not an appealing thing to do either.
yeah, it's on BBC Alba. Coverage starts at 7:25.
For what 7:45 kickoff?
I mean, you've asked. I've already closed the tab. I can't answer more questions on it.
No, no.
I think it's 7:30 kickoff.
What's the head to head for these two to know?
Probably two
Loss,
wins,
loss.
two losses, one draw. I
I
imagine
don't know. Yeah, along those lines.
perfectly equal.
But anyway, yes, that City Hibs game, that's tonight. If you're listening to us on Wednesday, if you're a slacker and don't listen to us on the day we come out on, or later, then this game's happened, and next week we'll talk about it probably in more detail. But for this podcast, we're going to take a quick break, then come back and chat about the games that have happened. Really testing your tenses here, guys. Yeah, so BRB. Yeah, so in the SWPL 1, full round of fixtures. Speaking of Glasgow City there, who played tonight, obviously, they had a big game at Ibrox facing Rangers. And Rangers lose again at Ibrox. And Glasgow City go clear top of the table. Interesting, wouldn't you say?
I think Glasgow City have been the best team in the league so far by like a bit of a distance.
Yeah.
Like they feel the most solid.
They have a 100% record, so that would do it.
Yeah, but like as in like they've not like Rangers when they had a 100% record didn't feel unbeatable.
Mm-hmm,
It felt
mm-hmm.
like there were still flaws and there were still little things that you could pick out as being like, oh, they're not actually that good. You know, like they weren't
Yes.
like steamrolling teams. They were conceding quite a lot. It wasn't as fluid as a team that have a 100% record should be.
Yes, that's probably fair. There's lots of things we picked out in the past few weeks, to be fair, for Rangers. But
I think as well, like it must be like really frustrating for Dan Crichton
in
the
what way?
way
In that,
that like recruitments happened. Obviously, they've had what 3 players come in really late in the window. Lee Meng Wen's not available still. Like she spent the whole summer training in China. Like, why could that deal not have been done 3 months ago? So that you can deal with any visa issues or whatever, and not have not have to play Ailey Austin in this game or not have to play Jess Pegram in this game, both of whom looked a little not quite ready for this level of contest. Like Ceballo comes in super late, so she's only on the bench. Rafferty, Hay, LaFay, Ewan's all injured. Eddie comes back for her first game because she couldn't get fit over the summer following an injury. Like, if I was Dan Crichton, I'd be so annoyed that like so much of that feels preventable or like things that they could have done differently to have a better squad in place for this game.
yeah, but it's not as if they've not brought in players.
No, but like as in that's what I mean by like Quinty Ceballo coming in so late is probably the reason that Maycroft starts this game and Shinji starts as the attacking midfielder rather than the defensive midfielder.
Yeah, probably. I
You
suppose.
know, we're 6 games into the season, and Jody McCleary has already played 3 different positions. Has gone from the starting right back to now being the starting defensive midfielder, but now she's not starting alongside an actual defensive midfielder that is, tried and tested at this level. She's starting alongside Maycroft, so she's also having to then help Maycroft through the games because she's only 16. Whereas Jodie McCleary is only like 19 herself and isn't really a defensive midfielder. She's a right back. So it's just like, I feel like it must be quite frustrating for Crichton to have walked into a situation where, she's walked into an injury crisis that hasn't moved on since she joined the club. Like, if
Yeah.
anything, it's gotten worse with the likes of Hay and Lefay missing from this game. And then the recruitment has been so late in the window that she's missing Ceballos, she's missing Meng Wen, who I think would have started this game if the game was in a month's time.
Well, they probably will do the next time they play each other, I'd imagine. Because they'll be there, but you'll see whether they make a difference or not. But I mean, that's also to say, City are also, you said, very strong. And like,
yeah,
it's like I say about Rangers, like, yeah, those 2 players might have made a difference, stuff like that. But it's not as if like City have brought in like 20 new players from last season either. And Rangers have lost so many people. It's still a relatively comparable team that Rangers put out.
Yeah, no, I don't, but I think the difference is that a lot of the City signings come in so early that, one, you kind of forget how many players they've signed, and then also they are now fully like in the system.
Yeah, no.
They've had 2 months of training with Ian Ross.
No, I do think that's something you said at the start of the season about City. They've got the most like consistency from last season.
Mhm.
They don't think they've lost
That's
anybody in particular, and then they've kind of recruited smartly and same manager and all that. So they've kind of been able to keep going. Where other teams, I think Rangers and Celtic in particular, are trying to like refresh again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes from how late in the window Leanne Crichton was appointed, is
Yeah,
why,
and
and
Rangers
like
had
a
gone
lot of
to
the
Italy for a
players,
week. So.
yeah, like Rafferty, Ewans, Leah Eddy were all injured when she was hired. It's not like they're injuries that have happened because of her. I think it's more just like, it must be really frustrating to walk into a job and then you're already having to deal with an injury crisis that maybe could have been prevented by the previous manager.
Yeah, or
And maybe
mitigated
there
through
needs to be
proper
more,
transfer strategy.
yeah, maybe there needs to be more behind the scenes to do with sports science that needs to get overhauled, but she's not had time to do any of that because she's immediately into games. And then,
Yeah,
they bring in Lee Meng Wen, who is like, that's a really high profile signing to help bolster their defense. And then they concede a goal that is so basic. And like, out watching it, I was angry for Van Creighton at how
hmm
bad the defending was. Like, and it's not like it's bad from a setup point of view. It's one of those where you can't criticize it. You can't say that it was the manager's fault because the tactics are wrong. Nick Dark, who has hundreds of appearances in SWPL 1, doesn't follow Katie Lockwood into the box. You can't legislate for that. And then you really can't legislate for the fact that absolutely nobody bothers to mark at the back post Nicole Koslova, who's one of the best goal scorers in the league. And then what really sent me over the edge, because it's me, all 5 defenders responsible for the goal immediately call for offside, immediately turn around and moan at the referee. And there's nothing, like, they don't talk to each other at all following the goal. They only moan at the referee and then just heads down, walk to the halfway line. For me, when you've got players like Nick Dock in that group, someone needs to be like rallying the troops a wee bit. Because like otherwise you're gonna have there's still 7 minutes till the game ends, 8 minutes till the game ends. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I
if your
guess
heads are immediately going down and you're immediately going, oh, referees against us, you're not gonna score an equaliser.
well, yeah, but I think all of that is kind of you saying that you can legislate for the defenders not mark in or whatever. It was 85th minute, so I guess that you can legislate for that. It's 85th minute. They've had a really tough game against tough opposition, very even game back and forth, like lots of tactical nous and all that, and lots of mental tiringness. 85th minute, and then you make these kind of mistakes happen.
I would agree.
And then you say it's 85th
one
minute.
Player had switched off.
But I think in the 85th minute, it's more. Heads down, shouting for offside. The 85th minute is way more like. I think that's normal. Than if it was in the 50th minute, that'd be annoying. I think 85th is like.
I just feel like you want to win the league. You're at home.
Yeah.
If that's Hibs or Glasgow City, there is a leader within the team getting the ball back to the halfway line, getting heads in the right space, and trying to push for an equaliser immediately, whether it's the 50th minute or the 90th minute. And I just feel like it's such a
And usually that's more on the players on the pitch, not that.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it's not. I don't think it's like you can't really. I don't think you can criticize Leanne Crichton for this loss because she's not the one. She's not.
We can
one
try.
Of the 5 players.
We can try.
That fully ignores any defensive responsibility, or she's not the player that gives away a really stupid free kick in the 85th minute in a dangerous position. Those are errors made by her players, but that's not instructions. Like it's not like tactics that's caused that. It's literally just because people have made stupid mistakes. And I imagine she will be doing the video review, or probably did the video review yesterday, and I imagine it was probably quite shouty about not just those mistakes, but the mistakes at the other end of the pitch as well. Because as much as I want to give Lee Gibson credit, because absolutely, I said last week, if she's going to make a stupid error, you want it to be in a big win at Hearts and not at Ibrox.
Yeah,
she did that. In this game, 3 really, really good saves. She doesn't really need to work for them, I would argue. But, she does really well to close down Macaulay. She reads Arnott's intention entirely. Like, she's already halfway to the far post before Arnott starts culling it towards that. And she pushes it away from Katie Wilkinson instead of parrying it to her feet, basically. So she does a really good job in goal, but Rangers only have 3 shots on target.
None of them are like...
It's an even game. They did have 10 shots, and most of them are just flying over the bar. And it's another game where we're going back to Katie Wilkinson being a bit invisible.
Yeah, but then also, I guess, particularly point, last point, very fun. Still not won at Ibrox, or not won at Ibrox in a long time, or
they're 1 win in 5.
Yeah,
the last
interesting
5 results. This loss, draw with Hearts, loss against Hibs, loss against Glasgow City, win against Hearts. That's the last 5.
At Ibrox, yeah, interesting.
I think it.
I don't know why.
It just comes down to the fact that it's not their home. But it is their home. Like the club are saying it's their home, but as in, they're not playing there every week. They've not played 100 games at Ibrox.
You would imagine surely the build up to the game. So the comfortableness of Ibrox dressing room, even though it's not your dressing room, that's gonna be a better dressing room and setup than
still different.
Airdrie.
It's a disruption. It's still a disruption to what your normal match day looks like.
It's a change. I don't know if it's a disruption. And they're playing there quite regularly now.
But I mean, previously, obviously they only played there twice this season. So, previously, they've not played there super regularly. The pitch is a different size. It's a different surface. They've got, it is a different routine. All of that stuff does add up. And I don't think it makes as much of an impact when you're the away team, because being the away team is always a disruption. At the weekend, I was at Hamilton because we'd been invited to see behind the scenes, and I was getting a tour around New Douglas Park. Hamilton's home dressing room, lovely, fantastic, brilliant. You're like, this looks fantastic. This looks like a great facility.
If not a bit smelly.
To play here. No, it was lovely. It was really good.
When I was there, it smelled like sweat.
Probably because the men's team moved out.
Probably. Probably.
and then I got shown the away dressing room, and it's like, it's just a square room. There's barely even a bench in it,
Yeah.
and that's obviously on purpose because you want a competitive advantage. That's what I mean by like it's not super disruptive when you're like to play at Ibrox as the away team
Yeah, because
because
you're
you're
expecting it
already
anyway.
going to be facing disruption if you're in Airdrie. But for Rangers, I think it's just like a settling in thing where the
Yeah.
record is so bad because it's always being disruptive. So like in 5 games time, they'll probably have quite a good record at Ibrox because they'll be used to playing there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like there's more to it than just they're a little bit uncomfortable at Ibrox.
I think there's more to it, but I do think that like I say that the difference in surface alone makes a huge difference when you're actually playing football. The fact that it's on grass and not on 4G is
Mm-hmm.
going to be that's going to feel different when you're passing the ball. They obviously train in Mungai, and I don't think they have a grass surface there.
Yeah, they do.
Like a grass, no, like as in I don't think Rangers women have a grass training surface that they regularly use. I'm pretty sure they use what used to be the ground, which was 4G.
I don't know. There's grass at Knockenhowie, but
Yeah, there
you know,
there is grass in
I'm sure
Knockenham.
they can use. It's just also
But
I always find this argument stupid. Your footballers have played on grass before.
no, obviously, yeah, but it's still different, and it's like practically you've got to change the way you play because the pitch is a different size. And I think they always look a lot more open at Ibrox. And I don't know whether it's because the pitch is bigger, so I don't know whether it's because they're worried about the pitch being bigger, so they sit further back, or if it's because they don't change enough and then they sit too far forward. I can't really tell. But I think just generally, I think the Ibrox record thing is more about consistency than it is about like they can't play at Ibrox. I don't think there's
Mm-hmm.
some like mystical being that means that they can't win games at Ibrox. I think it's just because they don't play there every week, and it doesn't
Yeah,
feel
that's
like.
fair.
I think that's the thing with Hibs. Like for Hibs and Meadowbank, there's such a feeling of it being home
Mm-hmm.
from the fans to the players. Everything, and I think that's what is missing. That they probably have a little bit in Airdrie because they're so used to playing. They've played it for ages. And I think it's also something that you could maybe criticise Celtic. I think maybe why Celtic haven't had a super great home record because they've had numerous homes. They don't really, they don't feel at home. You've spoken before about
Mm-hmm.
how the players feel about New Douglas Park. Um, if they don't feel like they're at home, then you lose the home advantage, and I think that has a bigger impact.
Yeah, fair. Well,
As I think Glasgow City win this game because they were the better team. I think.
that's something an interesting point. Maybe you should mention about it's not as much for the away teams, but I feel like other teams also step up at Ibrox, and I think there must be an element of like the spoil the party element must be like doubled because you're going to Ibrox, and it's like more fun. I think like, loads of players said in the past, like particularly the men's side, that like it's more fun beating Rangers at Ibrox than it is beating them at home. And that would be the same with the women's side. Like it's more fun that they've put on the show of going, we're going to play this game at Ibrox, and then you beat them there. Like I think as an
Yeah,
opponent, I
but
know myself that would feel way. It's funnier, basically. So
I think that's one of the things that um, is different with women's football than men's football because like when you look at I think that happens every single time any club puts on an event of playing at the men's ground.
mm-hmm.
Like if Hibs play at Easter Road or if Hearts play at Tynecastle, I think it always increases the factor of like, oh, it'd be great if we win. It'd just be really
Mm-hmm.
funny,
Yeah,
especially when you're not expected to necessarily, or like Glasgow City, maybe you're not spoken about in the way that you believe you should be spoken about. Um, so I do think that is something that definitely play into it. I think that's something as well though that'll wear off the more they play at Ibrox
yeah,
because it
yeah, yeah,
stops being like a novelty. Oh, they're playing at Ibrox
yeah,
for us. They
yeah,
must
yeah.
think they're going to beat us in front of their fans. Like that stops happening because they're just playing at Ibrox every week.
The whole time. Yeah, that's true.
Um, so yeah, it's one of those. I mean, they'll probably win at the weekend against St Johnson.
And I was going to say it's quite funny.
If
The
they
next home
don't,
game at Ibrox
then
is
I'm
St
going to
Johnstone.
start believing that there's some mystical being that is causing them not to. But
I
yeah, I
feel
think
like they'll
in this
beat
game,
St Johnstone. Yeah.
yeah, in this game, I think it is just obviously Lee Gibson has a great game. They defend really well. Like the chances that Rangers did have that they were skying were only half chances in the main. Katie Wilkinson has one opportunity really.
Mm-hmm.
If you're only letting her take one shot in a game, then you're probably doing things all right. And they were creating dangerous chances throughout the whole game. I think Kozlova looks really good this season, especially with Abby Harrison. Providing a bit more of like a target forward role. She's not really getting in the goals, but she's doing a lot of the sort of holding up. There's a chance really early in this game that Abby Harrison should score, but it doesn't matter. But it comes from City's ability to play long now, because that's something that I think they didn't have with Lavera. Because when you've got Lavera and Kozlova, I think the problem was they were both quite similar. So there was always like they're both kind of better on the wing, or they're not potent enough up front. Whereas Harrison offers them an opportunity, just like such a physical presence that you can then play out of pressure a lot easier, especially like on a pitch like Ibrox, which is quite big. Like you've got the opportunity then just to go, all right, we've won the ball back, just hit it long. Abby will get it, she'll nod it down, and because of the way that Rangers was set up, City had an extra midfielder that could then receive the header, which obviously then pushes you onto a counter attack. And as I think Austin and Pegram looked a little bit out of their depth in this game, which I think is acceptable when you're, whatever age they are, teenagers.
Yeah, yes, probably.
Pegram, it's the reason she's gone on loan to Rangers. Austin, obviously, is her first season coming into the Rangers first team regularly. Probably not by choice. And I think City took advantage of that. And I think City look really good. I genuinely think they look like the best team in the league.
They do the best team in the league, but I think City did this regularly. I think it's something to look out for City in the not the coming weeks, but more towards the end of the season, is that whether or not they can kind of hold off when/if another team goes on a run. Because something will happen like Hibs last year. Hibs went on that run of whatever many games it was in a row. Like you went on that run from
City were top at the split.
Yeah, but like Hibs went on that. We went on that run from what was like November to the end of the season. Basically, we didn't lose. And I mean, obviously, you can't match that anyway. But I just when it's happened in the past as well. Celtic did it when they won the league. City do really well, and then one of the other teams manages to get a run of 10, 12, 16 games, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And City struggle to match it, and then the other team runs with it. So
there's
been a match in these teams. So it's just them keeping it up for the whole season.
They were top last season at the split, and there's fewer games post-split this season. Oh wait, no, there's fewer games pre-split this season.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
Maybe just less games in general. So.
Well, I was thinking of the bottom four because there's.
Yeah, they have less
one of the conversations I had on the weekend was about how there's fewer games to dig yourself out if you're bottom post-split.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Well, going towards the split anyway, that's our other game to chat about. We had Motherwell v Aberdeen. Shout out Motherwell. I think that's like the third week in a row Motherwell have snuck into being the team to chat about. But deservedly so this weekend.
We can talk about Hibs Accies if you want.
I want to hear your Accies tour. I don't care about Hibs. I want to hear about the Accies tour. But Motherwell this weekend, obviously beating Aberdeen 2-0. Seemed like a good performance. Carla Boyce, Deegan Browning scoring. Aberdeen, I mean, I don't know, not very potent Aberdeen. / Motherwell, strong defensively. Toss up, both at the same time.
I'm going to preface this with I think Motherwell are really good in this game and deserved winners. Off of their own backs, like they deserve to win because of how they played. Because I do want to give them credit, but for such an experienced manager who's won the league so many times, I am shocked at how little Scott Booth has learned this season of his own team.
Right, okay, in what way?
In this game, the first goal, playing out from the back, again, Aberdeen playing themselves into problems because they don't have the players to do this. Like, they can play out from the back against Accies and Montrose, but not really, because they'll still put themselves they're putting themselves under a huge amount of pressure for either extremely young players who are still learning and developing, who are prone to make a mistake because of, just simply because of their age, because they're not like fully developed, or players like Tony Lee Finnegan, who didn't play today, which probably was, or didn't play on the weekend, which was a pretty big loss. But that they're not the type that you want tapping it around your own box, And like the first goal, the ball's played into the midfielder, who is on the turn, surrounded by Motherwell players, not a single player in support.
Yeah.
Like, it's a crazy ball to play in the first place. And then I've said it more than once now this season. Katie Cox comes flying out the goal, makes a mess of it, and then, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Sophie Black goes round her, and then Carl Boyce sort of taps in. It's a really good finish. She chips it so that defenders can't get it and stuff. But it's all of Aberdeen's own doing, and they concede 2 shots on target in this game, and they lose 2-0. And I'm like, Katie Cox is a good keeper. I can understand why Chelsea have faith in her, and I can understand where the potential comes from. She's 19.
Yeah, she's
you
struggling
need to start winning games like yesterday. In this game, you get a point if your keeper doesn't make an error, and then realistically for the second one, she's got no chance, but potentially could have dealt with the first cross better, which then means that the second cross doesn't come in. And it feels so easy to play Aberdeen. And like, you look at this game, at one point, Hannah Stewart's popping up at left centre back, Holly Daniels playing wing back. Like, these are your best attacking players.
Yeah, you got to get them forward.
Why they ever... Hannah Stewart shouldn't be in your own half at any point during the game. Like, genuinely, I wouldn't want... If I was an Aberdeen fan, she was in our own half, I'd be like, go away. Stick her, get her as close to the goal as possible. Shouldn't even need to be that close to score, but get her as close as possible. And it's like, there's no evidence that Scott Booth is taking the lessons from the run of bad results now. And if you're missing, they're missing players from injury. Maya Christie comes off injured in this one. Tony Finnegan doesn't start, as I said. You're missing players. Adapt. Change what you do. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand this obsession with, and it seems to happen quite a lot in SWPL recently, with managers going, we spoke about Aleda Ziku doing it with Noonan, where they go, oh, I'm missing a really key important player for my system, but the system stays.
Yeah, or the adapting to who you're playing. Like, I think it's mentioned in particular, I think team like Motherwell in particular, a lot of Motherwell's strength is that kind of energy in the forward midfield area. And if you're messing about at the back with it, with like Bailey Collins and stuff like that running down, then that's something that Motherwell are good at and strong at, and like they're like clinical when they get the ball further forward. So you need to be better at keeping the ball away from them, basically, and maybe get the ball to the other side of the pitch away from Motherwell's like creative players.
Yeah, and we've seen as well, like Abby Tobin, wing back, really, really good when you get her into forward areas and play direct and use her strength, her pace, her physicality. But they don't do that if they're passing it around the back because she's receiving the ball 20 yards from her own goal line. And it's like, well, she's physical and she's got, a good engine, but like, she's not going to run 70 yards and deliver a perfect cross. Like, you've got to be more realistic. As Motherwell did play they moved the ball really, really well. Funnily enough, outside of the 2 goals. The 2 goals come from kind of nothing moments. It's a second ball in from a corner.
Yeah.
And then obviously the mess of the first goal. Throughout the game, they created a lot of chances, and it was just a little bit of finishing here and there. But they moved the ball really well. They held off the threat of Aberdeen really well as well. Like, Aberdeen couldn't make any inroads, which again leads me back to like, why are you not making changes? If what you're doing is not working, change it.
Change it. Yeah.
But and Tegan Browning getting her first goal, that's really good. Obviously, someone that
it's interesting
I really like as well. So I'm glad for her.
For Motherwell, because I know something that we spoke about last week was about Motherwell inconsistency and trying to get hold of that. I think since they've kind of poor that start of the season, they had the City get them on Montrose games when they were really poor. To be fair, the past 5, they've won 3 of the last 5, lost to 2, but they had that Hearts game, which we spoke about, kind of an inconsistency part of Motherwell. And there's a Rangers game that was a good performance, but didn't get the win. Other than that, it's so if you include the Rangers one as a good enough performance, that's 4 good enough performances in the last 5 for them.
I think the Thistle game, the 1-1, was maybe not
good enough. Yeah, because they probably could have won that one if they had. Yeah,
but that's one they'll look back on.
Picked up a point at least is kind of maybe what we're getting at. But...
Yeah, it's sort of a complicated one because I think they'll look back on it and be disappointed, but equally, it's still a point against a team that you're in direct competition with.
Yeah, so but I just mean that's taking them up
the end of the world.
They are currently the 6th place team. Obviously, 7 games. They've only got 7 points, but it just is making me. It's quite interesting as to what's going to happen. This who gets 6th spot. I think for them the difficult thing is their next few games are brutal. They got Hibs twice and Celtic before they get to play. I think it's Aki's again or something like that. So they're in a good place at the moment. But 3 if the Hibs and Celtic kind of put them to the sword a bit, which is potentially happening. What's the morale going to be like in a month's time, kind of thing. But I guess it's
equally,
kind of
I think they could. Obviously, the game this weekend's a cup game, and Hibs don't have the fittest squad on the planet currently. There's quite a lot of injuries and lots of little things, so there could be quite a lot of rotation, and they could get they could get a result in that one, and then all of a sudden that's a huge boost in morale. Even if they do get even if it's 8-0 in both the other games against the other game against Hibs and the game against Celtic, even if they have that, they've gone through in the cup, and that's something that they can look to. I think I would be surprised if they get heavily beaten in both or in all 3 of those games, but the league, the 2 league games, because I do think we've seen that they've not been battered really. My issue is that they just also haven't really competed.
Poor, but yeah.
That's what I mean. Even in that game, it's only 4-1. It's not actually that horrendous a result. It's just my issue is more just that they don't seem to. They don't pose as much threat or keep as much possession as I'd like in those games. But obviously, as I say, against Aberdeen, they played really, really well. Probably will be disappointed not to have scored more. And yeah, they deserve a lot more praise than I've given them. But it's also partly because I just hate when I watch teams defend poorly. It annoys me so much when I see teams it's such basic stuff where it's just why are you passing that ball to the midfielder in the first place? You know what I mean? But then even then, when the midfielder receives it, why is she trying to turn? Straight back. That ball is going straight back to the centre back, and then they're putting it in the stands and getting an earful. That's how it should go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how, if that happened at Hibs, for example, that's how it would go. If Siobhan Hunter played a hospital pass into Ellis Notley Notley's just passing it back. And Siobhan Hunter can then just hoof it up the pitch, whatever. Because there's no pressure to just always pass out. And that's what frustrates me most about this Aberdeen performance is that it's just this isn't the first time we've seen them try and force it, passing out from the back. And it's not It's not working.
And
and I say I also think that Anna Proor should be in goal because it's been costing them points all season. It's cost them points in this game. For as good as Motherwell were, it's 2 shots on target and 2 goals. That's not a record that you want to have as a keeper. As I say, I get she's really young. She has had some good saves, and she is learning, and that's why she's at Aberdeen so that she can go and play first team football, which she wouldn't get at Chelsea, obviously. Well, she just doesn't. She looks like a teenage goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at like Hibs Aki's, obviously Aki's still on 0 points, but Rowena Armitage played in that game and makes a really good save when Lucy Barkley goes 1-on-1. It's the only thing she's had to do all game, but she makes the save. You know, and that's the concern that you would have putting a young keeper in. If you're only facing 2 shots on target, you've got to save them. Especially when the first one, she's not even got a chance to save it because she comes flying out and gets beaten. And that's like, that's, you know, there's 5 defenders in the box.
I think you'd be all right to leave it.
Yeah. You don't need to come off your line at all. It's on the edge of the 18-yard box. Just let it happen. But because, you know, as I inexperience, mistakes happen. And I don't know if Anna Pro is any good, but
let's find out together. Yeah,
you might as well try.
Yeah, well, elsewhere, I guess across the league, we had Hearts battering Thistle 5-0. Hearts making a habit now of battering teams facing it for 6th spot. We had Celtic beat Montrose 4-0. A really good second half performance, in particular from Celtic. Noonan is back as well, which is exciting, scoring goals. And then finally the weekend as well, we had Hibs beat Hamilton 5-0 at New Douglas Park. You were there getting a tour, seeing all the behind the scenes. What was the crack? What were Aki saying to it this year? More positive than last year, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be tough. I'm going to write about their setup and what it's like behind, because obviously it's going to be fairly similar behind the scenes at most clubs. Obviously, at Aki's significantly less money. That's the big theme. But it was really cool. It was cool just to see what goes on. You know, something that you don't really consider too much outside of like team talks.
What do you mean? That's you.
You don't consider like what happens on a match day outside of the.
Oh,
like,
do you mean like getting
off.
the kits ready, getting the food and the juices and the water and all that, and hospitality set
and all
up,
the odd jobs that need done and stuff. So it was really interesting to see. Wasn't the most exciting game on the planet.
No.
From, you know, I think it might be it's the first time that I could find, when I did my very quick Google, that 4 headers have been scored in the same game, which is fun.
In the world?
In SWPL.
In SWPL. There's not going to be stats to come. One of these times where City won like 14-0, they probably scored 4 headers.
I was only doing it based on goal scorer, because I was just like, if a defender scored more than once,
it's probably basically a header, right? There's probably some statistician out there who can tell us that. I don't know.
So, but that was fun, I guess.
4 headers, really?
That's really good. Yeah,
random.
It's because Hibs were
Who
frustrating
team.
Set pieces.
Set piece FC. Yeah.
But yeah, Hibs were frustrating just generally, but it was also all Hibs. So
yeah,
eventually the ball's going to go in the net. It's kind of how it works generally. Yeah. It was quite funny at one point. The referee stopped the game to shout at the Aki's bench to put some balls behind the goal, because on the side where there's not a stand, I swear there used to be a fence. There's now just some poles,
scaffolding or something.
No, just poles, like as if a fence used to be there, but now there's no fence, so the ball just goes onto the pitch behind. So every goal kick for the whole first half, every goal kick was taking about a minute, because she had to go fetch a ball. She had to like go round, go onto the other pitch, fetch a ball, come back round every time. So that was quite funny. And Aki's let I don't know his name, but there's a wee boy that goes to all the Hibs games, and they let him do the goal announcement for one of the goals. I can't remember which one.
Nice one.
Which was quite cute.
Nice,
quite funny to be in an away ground and hear the
goal announcement and be like,
but that was quite nice. And yeah, Jess Fitzgerald was incredible. Obsessed, genuinely, like it was quite funny. Because obviously before the game you see the lineup and it's a little bit like, that's a lot of changes. But yeah, she really, really good. Scarlett Heron as well. She maybe got away with one with her booking. It's one where I don't think it's a foul, but Aki's fans will say it was a red card. So but yeah, it was really cool. I've got my notes to write up an article about it all.
So what, are you going to do like this is how an SWPL club actually runs?
No, I'm just going to talk about what happened when I was there.
Same thing, I guess.
But the main takeaway was that Bobby Watson can have 5 conversations at once while walking somehow. And
the most important man, Hamilton. It's mental, yeah.
No, I mean, he'd been there since 11, and we got there kind of late because Hamilton is a confusing place to drive. And
yeah, it's one way to run there too.
Yeah, we went to park in the parking, like the council parking, where when you took me to the Champions League game
next to the train station,
where we parked. But I didn't know where the entrance to that was, so we just went around it about 5 times to find the entrance. And we were like, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's just you turn right into it, bro.
Well, the entrance isn't on the side where you can see the car park. The entrance is on a side where it's like a street. It's odd.
It's like it's on the I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I think you should have got parking as a Morrison's Underground car park. I don't know if you get that, but Celtic games you get that for free. Oh yeah, to be fair, there's no one there.
It was 11:30 on a for a 2:00 kickoff. It was kind of fine. Pie was great as well.
We were getting told
because we were getting told beforehand. It'll either be pies or sandwiches. I don't know, was what Bobby said, and it was pies and sausage rolls. The sausage roll lasted about half a second on Amy's plate. She didn't say if it was good or not, but she specifically said the pie was good. So
fair enough. That's good to listen. So get to a Hamilton Accies game and try the pies.
The hospitality room is really nice as well. Like inside of it,
the boardroom.
Yeah. It's no longer
there.
the boardroom because the boardroom is now in Airdrie or wherever the men's team have gone.
Moved to. It's just a room now. Anyway, is it good? There's a bar in Aki Stadium. It's good too, actually. Around the back, that's a good hospitality room if you're ever in that one. But you got to.
We went to Strathclyde Country Park after.
Lovely.
So
how's that?
The bar.
Lots of swan shit everywhere. Do you go to the Roman Bridge?
No, we got about, I want to say like a third of the way around. And I had said to Amy, like, this is like 4 miles, right? And she was like, no, it can't be. I can see around it. And then we saw like a mile marker that was like 3.5 miles to go. And I was like, and she was like, yeah, let's turn around.
It's because you have to go. You can't go around the loch. You have to go.
Yeah, it also is because
it's a nice walk, but it takes well.
It bends in and then bends back out again. So she was seeing the bend in and thinking that just went round, and it obviously goes back out. So yeah, it was nice. The lot of geese.
There's a lot of geese.
Massive geese. Actually,
a lot of geese shit as well.
Yeah, everywhere. I mean, if you're complaining about getting out in nature and nature being there, then you need to.
I don't know. I was in nature this weekend too. But anyway, enough of that. Take a quick break. I'm being chat about SWPL 2 in a minute. So yeah, we had the game week 6 of the SWPL 2, and as ever, couldn't tell you who's winning, because you have, I guess it's 6 points separated in top 6.
Spartans or Kelly.
Yeah, Spartans. But kind of the big game of the weekend, I suppose, what has made it particularly tight across the majority of the league again is Gartcairn beating Dundee United 2-0. Which is interesting because we spoke a lot about Gartcairn being the kind of acid test for SWPL 2, and Dundee United failed that, which isn't great.
Yeah.
So what their title credentials? I don't know. So in the mud, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of all concerned, isn't it, for Dundee United, like defensive organisation, lack of experience generally, like in front of goal and generally throughout the squads. Their squad age has probably about doubled over the summer, but it's still very young. And yeah, Gartcairn are looking good to like push the promotion race. It's, I guess, the thing is, as it stands, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to beat Spartans or Kelly.
No, they're kind of
So
comfortably
it's
putting teams
kind of
away.
starting to look like a race between which of them finishes second, and then if they finish second and have beaten everyone else, then it's kind of less exciting for a playoff, especially with the advantage of finishing second, having less games.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you said there's a 6-point gap between the top and bottom, and there's 2 teams on 0 points. I think is the big, like, I mean,
yeah, it's interesting. The gap's kind of developed because you've got this 6 points between 7th and 6th all of a sudden.
Yeah, we're sort of beating a dead horse, but it was the obvious consequence of the restructure in SWPL was that you're putting in 3 teams that are probably of too high a level.
Yeah.
And then, that's going to cause an imbalance, and it has. I don't think that's surprising. I mean, obviously, we're talking in this game about a team that got relegated, but Dundee United weren't great in SWPL 1. They weren't going into SWPL 2 as favourites for the league, unlike Spartans.
Who
definitely Spartans.
Didn't necessarily deserve to go down last year, and they've obviously.
Yeah. So, I mean, the hope now, I guess, because I don't think we should abandon structure immediately, because I think part of my issue was the amount of restructures we've had recently.
Yeah, so stick with something.
So you've got to hope a couple seasons it will even out. East Fife might go down this season, but then maybe they, over the next 5 seasons, maybe they get back up and get 10 points next time round, and then they get 20 points or whatever. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think was always going to happen. There's, to an extent, it exists in SWPL 1 from the top 5 to the bottom 5.
Yeah.
And then there's a gap, obviously, again, when you go to the bottom 4 and the Ackies. But that feels more natural than having almost 6 teams be in a totally different league to the other 4.
Yeah, I suppose. I think you're probably right. You kind of just got to wait and hope that it balances out. There's no point in researching all the time. But on that game in particular, though, Graeme Hart derby, just realised that.
Yeah. I'm sure he was like, before the game, they're like, I'd love it if we beat them.
I'd love it if we beat them. Yeah, I can imagine.
Channeling his inner Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, say that there's. I mean, I still have the concern over Gartcairn that they've got a squad of about 1 million people. But
yeah,
it's clearly working. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're well supported, I suppose. It is just that, like, because they've done this before in the past as well, where they do really well, and it's just like they never seem either unlucky that other teams are just a bit better, or they never seem to quite get the like run to a promotion race. And they are right there, 4 points off, so it's not as loads of games to go. So definitely in the conversation. But it's just, as you said, is whether or not anybody can really match Kilmarnock and Spartans.
Yeah, and then obviously Birmingham Thistle and Queen's Park, who are also looking really good. And then you've got your whole promotion playoff sorted, and it's
and then you can be
September.
A team like Gartcairn and have an incredible season and not even get playoffs. Yeah, which is pretty mad.
But then, as I say, like then you look at next season and Aki's come back down. Probably, if the team doesn't win the playoff, you've then lost one of Kilmarnock or Spartans. Does that have an impact? What happens? Does it equalise a bit more? I don't have all the answers, so I don't know. I still think that both leagues are too small, but I feel like I'm going to feel like that until eventually we don't have 2 leagues of 10. I think that's probably the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think probably just I think SWPL 1 should be more than 10 teams. Definitely was fine at 12, but I don't think there's any point in making it 12 again or whatever. I think we should just stick with it. Yeah. I do think like, it will eventually find a level. I guess my hope is that the level it finds is Spartans Kilmarnock level of SWPL2 and all the teams, rather than we just wait for Spartans and Kilmarnock to get out here and then we can all just be shit teams.
Yeah, I mean, my issue mostly is Aki's looked great in SWPL2. They don't look so great in SWPL1, but there's such a huge financial disparity once they get there.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this last week, but I don't know. I can't remember. Did I not, or if I dreamed it? But it was about whether or not like it's like if the gap between SPL2 and SPL1 is too big. Oh, I think did I say this? Someone else. I don't remember.
You did say it, yes.
Yeah. As 1 week, we'll find time to talk about it more. But
yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't think it is talent-wise, but it's actually something really interesting that Bobby Watson said to me on the weekend, is that he's having to tell his players, obviously, and he's having to prepare differently, because if they're the 13th best team in the league, they've gone from playing against team 14, 15, 16 to playing against team 5, 6, 7. And that's the difference. Like, you know, they might be, you know, that they're probably the 15th or 14th most like resources
across two divisions. Yeah.
1 and 2. Yeah. And they've gone from competing against teams with comparative, if they've got more or less resources than him, or than Aki's, to competing with teams that have just got more. All of them have got more. And it's like a lot more, you know? And that's the difference, is like, you know, we're talking about some of these teams having more than 6 figures more money than they do. And that's the bit that needs to equalise out. And I don't know if I don't know how we do that in the short term. In the long term, it'll equalise out because more money will come into the game, because more people go to games every season, and more people watch games every season, so more money is spent on the games every season. Pretty basic fact of life. And Football Manager have spent money getting the Welsh license. So if we shout at them enough, they might spend money getting the Scottish license next time. But like, so all of that is positive, or moving in the positive direction. It's just at the moment it's going to be a talking point probably till the end of the season, because it's a change that was made that is having a big impact on how these leagues look.
Yeah, I suppose that's the point. Like,
in a normal, if we didn't restructure, Dundee United would have gone down. I still think they'd have lost to Gartcairn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think the problems at Dundee United go beyond last season, and
well, I don't know that is it. It's so much like where the criticism falls, I suppose. Like, is it just generally, oh, a shame the league is the way that it is? Oh well, teams are going to struggle, or is it a Hamilton and United's and Queens Park, etc., should be invested more because the league is moving on, and if you want to be part of SWPL1, you need to try to. I know Aki's situation is that's not going to happen. But for other teams,
I've said before,
like,
I don't think that's helpful, because I don't think we should be relying on money that's not there. Like, teams can choose to run at a loss, and I think that's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that. And there's obviously not a problem with teams investing money from the men's side, but I don't think I don't think it's a model that we should be basing our league system on. We should be saying,
it shouldn't make a strategy with the presumption that Spartans are going to drop 100k to stay in the league.
Yeah, or if Killie get promoted, they have to invest in their women's team from their men's team. They don't have. We're not generating the money ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason that I think that there's no short-term solution, because the solution is for there to be more money for them, and then for that money to be distributed equitably.
Yeah.
There is some money. It is distributed somewhat equitably. There could maybe be improvements to that. But, giving Aki's 100 grand now doesn't solve anything. Because they probably go full time with the same players, and I mean they already train 4 times a week. I mean, it's not like they're not training.
Yeah, but I suppose it's not necessarily
like they don't have the money next year, and then all of a sudden it's the same.
I always wonder if it's not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I guess everything costs money, so it is cash.
It's
but it's not me. It's
cash.
It's not. Yeah, so I mean, it's not me saying Aki's. Let's not use him as an example, because we both they don't have any support.
Yeah,
But
they're all
like,
volunteers. It's the
yeah,
only
but
team in the league that have that
Dundee
one.
United, say, is an example because they are a legit football club behind them. It's not that they should give them 100k and they should go out and they should sign 4 players on pro contracts. It's more that like they should have better facilities and they should have better. They should train more times a week and they should have more kind of support staff. Then it's not just a manager doing everything. And all of that does cost a bit of money, but it's not as if I'm saying like I think there could be requirements of the SWPL one is professional league, that we want the level of the league to be what Hibs do, what City do, what Surrey do. That's the level we want. So if you're coming up to this league, you've got to do an investment in that way, and we can't just kind of be like, oh, woe is them. They're just never could compete with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean by though that like we can't do that because if the money's not there in the game, because if we're doing that, but it's relying on men's teams, Barnes will die, Bournemouth will die, City will eventually die. You know, teams that don't have a Premiership men's team will never be able to compete at the top flight level, and then we just end up with a really boring league where one team wins it all the time and it's kind of crap. Whereas it's so exciting now because there are 5 teams who are all investing fairly equally. And then behind them, there are 3 teams that are all investing fairly equally at like a slightly lower level, but they're aspiring to get to that level. And I think if you pushed for a reliance on money from the men's game, I think teams like Motherwell would give up because at the moment they're looking at Hibs and going, that could be us. You know,
what is
Motherwell
the
don't see themselves
investment
as a
that
smaller club
like
than Hibs.
what is the investment that Motherwell, Aberdeen, Thistle have got that Dundee United and Queen's Park couldn't have? Dundee United, because Motherwell and Aberdeen and Thistle 5 years ago were these teams that had nothing, and they've steadily progressed though.
Yeah, well, part of it will be coming from the men's game, but it'll be commercial. It'll be from being in the league sustainable, like consistently and sustainably. Like they've been in the top flight and they've come top half. And I say, like commercially, they'll have done quite well. They've probably done quite well from, like general UEFA money, which is out of their control, but it's still stuff that's come in. That it's unlucky that Dundee United or whatever have missed out on that, but it's not their fault. But that's the sort of thing that I mean. It's just like I think I'd be concerned if we were not trying to grow it from a women's football perspective, because as I say, like there is no way that Motherwell, in their boardroom and in their conversations behind the scenes, don't see themselves on the men's side as a similar sized club to Hibs.
Yeah.
Other Hibs fans will be screaming at me, being like, "We're the 3rd biggest team in the country." I don't care. Every team says that. Outside of the Old Firm, every team says they're the 3rd biggest team in the country. Right? Hibs have just won the SWPL. So if you're in the boardroom at Motherwell, you're going, we can get to that level because the
we're
league
a
as a
comparable
whole
club to Hibs.
Isn't pushing to the point of just men's money, which is what the WSL probably has a bit more of a problem with, where the clubs at the top are the clubs at the top because of the clubs at the top of the men's game. Like it's just kind of a little bit where in the SWPL, Celtic are basically entirely self-funded.
Yeah.
With their budget, which is comparable to Hibs, who are also basically entirely self-funded, which is comparable to the budget of Rangers and of Glasgow City and so on. And that's the bit that's important, is that we need to keep them. We need to avoid Hibs and Hearts and so on from just going, here's £1 million, like extra.
Yeah.
Go. Dominate everything. Because I think while that might improve the results in Europe, it'll weaken the whole league. And we need to do more to increase the revenue streams for the likes of Motherwell, which is a central revenue thing and about equitable sharing of resources and things, which is easier to do in a small league because you've got 10 teams to share money with instead of 12. So 10 teams get slightly more money, but then we create a gap between the second division, and that's really complicated financial talk anyway, so we can probably...
Yeah, I'll park that. Interesting, I mean, lots of people have opinions on that kind of stuff, so let us know in the comments or DM us or whatever, just voice note us and shout us, people that knows.
Voice note us, and Peter can have the fun job of editing you into the podcast.
Yeah, you too could be a podcaster. Yeah.
If you send us a 5-minute rant about playing out from the back, we will put you on the podcast.
Yeah, send us your show reels. But yeah, I think that's us for this week anyway. That's been enjoyable. Listening to this on a Wednesday morning, hopefully, guys. Enjoy the game at Hibs v City if you're going to it or watching it on TV. We'll chat about it next week. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. On YouTube, you can follow us. I've got the things on YouTube, so click that button and follow it or whatever. Yeah, we will see you later on. Bye.